Hello, everyone. I'm Stan Goldstein with Kates-Boylston. I'm glad to be joined by Jeff McCauley, the CEO of FuneralScreen. Jeff will be doing a webinar with us here at Kates-Boylston on Thursday, July 27th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. It's titled How to Personalize Your Funeral Services Using Digital Technology. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me, Stan.
All right. Well, first question. Share the story behind the inspiration for your founding of FuneralScreen. How did the company come to be?
Sure, I'd love to, Stan. Appreciate it. And as a funeral director and an embalmer in my own funeral home, I had been creating memorial tribute videos for families for several years. So in 1999, I formed Green Valley Media to offer this service to local funeral homes in the Chicagoland area. Sitting many wakes in my own funeral home, I had witnessed firsthand how powerful the emotional connection families and visitors made when videos and images of the deceased were used at a service. I started to look at directory signs funeral homes were using in their own businesses, including my own. Most were printing 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper and inserting them in frames on the wall. Then there were those really old school funeral homes that were still using yellow plastic letters on black felt boards.
Yeah.
Funeral homes were stuck in this way of doing things, the way their father or grandfather had been doing for the last several decades. They were really missing out on an opportunity to make a first impression with their family and friends and mourners. This types of directory signs were so impersonal. I thought if I could apply the concept of clear, bright, high definition digital signage to the directory sign, this would provide them an opportunity to provide a level of personalization that's never been achieved before. At this point, we've all been started to be exposed to some form of digital signage on a daily basis in our lives, whether it be at the bank drive-through, the fast food drive-through lane, or on our smartphones. It had become something that we've almost come to expect. So I began to research, how could we provide this technology to the funeral industry? There was no technology out there that could be utilized from other industries to apply to our industry. So I began testing different hardware that could work for our unique industry. Our first system utilized a small media player that could be installed behind a TV screen that played back an image from a memory card. It worked well, with the exception that the funeral director had to physically swap out the memory card in order to update for the next service.
Yeah.
So I just needed a tool to create the image so it would look good on the screen and allow them to personalize the background or theme for the individual and include the decedent's photo. After all, funeral homes don't have access to a library of royalty-free background images, nor are they graphic designers. So we contracted with a software company to develop a web-based software application that would do just that. The user would go online from their computer using our software. They'd select the number of services to display. They would type in the service details. They'd select a background theme, and then they would upload a photograph of the decedent. The software would then combine these images into a single JPEG image, which would then be saved to a portable memory card. They would insert that memory card into the player behind the display, and the service announcement would display on the screen. So I began to test this system in my own funeral home. I built a wood cabinet enclosure to house the screen, and I installed it in the lobby, and I began testing it. I began to closely observe the reaction from families and guests. I must say I was shocked at the reaction we received. They were absolutely amazed. I couldn't tell you the amount of positive feedback I received from these guests. I had a steady flow of people coming in my office telling me that they've never seen such a personalized sign before. No new hearses, no new couches, interior updates that we did over the years had ever received that much positive feedback and comments. I knew at that moment this was technology that should be in every funeral home. Our efforts and focus from this point forward would be to bring digital signage technology to funeral homes. In 2008, we launched a FuneralScreen product line to be more reflective of our new product direction. Advancements in cloud technology were now coming into play. We partnered with a company in developing a cloud-based software application designed specifically for the funeral industry that would allow funeral homes to update sign content without the need for memory cards or to be physically present at the location of the sign. In addition, we could now display dynamic content on the screen to personalize the service announcements. We could display weather, we could put the date and time, we could have RSS feeds, we could have pre-need advertisements, among other components. And then we also begin to develop an extensive line of housing options for the screens that would aid in integrating the digital signage into the funeral home decor. I felt that a TV screen mounted on the wall was not the look most funeral homes wanted. We started using commercial grade screens instead of residential televisions. This allowed us to have the screens installed vertically, and the screens didn't suffer from burn-in from a single image to being displayed on the screen. We partnered with a picture frame manufacturer to offer custom picture frame overlays that would attach to the wall-mounted screens. One of our most important partnerships was with a manufacturer of high-end furniture cabinetry that we call our Signature Series. It features custom wood enclosures that are available in wall mount and freestanding designs that could be engraved with custom text and company logos.
Interesting, very interesting. So tell me your overview now of where FuneralScreen, your current suite of products and services, and what
Sure.
sets you apart from other digital solutions in the funeral industry.
Our current suite of products include, we have a full line of digital signage hardware that would include freestanding wall-mounted iPad series for like over the register stand, and then the software, of course, to control it. We have live streaming hardware and software for webcasting. We have electronic whiteboards for funeral homes that want to have a screen in their office or in the prep room and keep all their calls in order and on task, keep everything organized. We even have outdoor digital signage for funeral homes that want to put the signage on the outside of their building. We have touchscreen kiosk, and we also offer a full sign management solution for funeral homes that maybe don't want to learn the software and they just want to have the hardware in their funeral home and just want their directory signs to be remotely updated. We can do that for them. We also have we're excited about our newest product launch. It's called the FuneralScreen Digital Registry product. It's a digital guest book system that collects the guest's information on an iPad for printing to a guest book that is shipped to the funeral home or the family. This eliminates legible writing and can collect information for the funeral home for pre-need marketing.
Oh, it seems I'm always asking about COVID-19 with funeral people in the funeral industry. So let me ask you, that it significantly impacted the funeral industry, forcing funeral homes to adapt and find new ways to serve families. How did the pandemic specifically accelerate the adoption of technology within the industry? And let me just follow it up too. What did funeral homes successfully leverage, or how did funeral homes successfully leverage technology during the pandemic?
Sure. Well, with limited gathering sizes or no gatherings at all, funeral homes were forced to seek ways to bring families together in new ways. We saw a significant increase in adaptation of our live stream services. This service allowed them to bring everyone together via live stream or webcasting.
Okay. All right. And let me just follow that up. How did FuneralScreen adapt to meet the evolving needs of funeral homes and families during this time? And any examples of that you might remember from helping funeral homes during that time?
Well, when the first CDC guidelines came down affecting a number of people that were allowed to gather in places like funeral homes, we immediately looked at ways that we could be of service. That's when we launched our live stream products. Being able to hold services virtually and securely allowed for our funeral home, FuneralScreen customers to continue aiding in the grief and closure so many people were experiencing during COVID.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go. I have a list here, so I'm going to go to question number 4 on there. And how did FuneralScreen's digital displays contribute to enhancing the overall customer experience for funeral homes and families? And I'll follow that up with 2. How did they help funeral homes create a more meaningful and personalized funeral experience? And if you can share any specific examples on that too.
Sure. The fact is that no one feels at home and at ease walking into a funeral home. A digital sign displaying a photograph provides family a sense of comfort and feeling of knowing their loved one is in the right hands. It demonstrates to the family that their loved one is not just another call for the funeral home, and that they've taken the time and listened and taken the extra step to personalize the funeral for them. There are several examples I can recall, but there was one that really stands out in my mind. This director really took the time and listened during the arrangement process. The husband was in making arrangements for his wife along with his son, and the family had shared with the director that the parents were born and raised in a small town in Italy. So while updating the directory sign in preparation for the first viewing, the funeral director took it upon himself to download an image of the town where the husband and wife had lived, and he used those images as a background theme in the lobby directory. When the family of the deceased walked in for the first viewing and saw her photo with the town they had grown up in, they were immediately moved to tears, especially when one of the photos of the church was where they were married in. They shared with the funeral director how much it had meant to them and that they had listened and taken the time to make that moment special for them. The family proceeded to repeatedly bring guests out to the lobby and show them the directory sign. It's moments like that that remind us of why we became funeral directors.
Yeah, that had to make you feel great too, to see the
Absolutely.
impact. Yeah. All right. And let's follow up on that sort of question leading right into that. How does personalization play a role in improving customer satisfaction and creating lasting memories for families? And elaborate on how FuneralScreen's digital directories, guest books, and live stream services enhance the personalization of funeral services.
Well, the more ways a funeral home can personalize a funeral service to the family, it's going to create a longer lasting memory for the family. And that builds customer loyalty and retention. For example, with our live stream offerings, we have a service in that our package is called the premium package. This service includes the live webcast, plus it includes a hosted playback for a year. The stream and the recording are placed on a customized web page that includes the photos, the obituary, custom backgrounds, and there's even embedded links on there for condolences and donations. The ability to fully customize the memorial page adds such a deep level of personalization for the families. And all of our services offer this ability to personalize the family's experiences using custom backgrounds and the ability to incorporate the decedent's photographs.
Right. And how about success stories you've heard from, or testimonials you've heard from funeral homes that have implemented FuneralScreen's digital signage and services? And have these solutions positively impacted their operations and customer experience from what you've heard?
Sure. Well, when speaking to potential customers on the phone, I'll share with them experience other funeral homes tell us about when they first install a digital directory sign system. Things like they'll say families are constantly taking pictures of our directory sign, or they'll say, I can't believe the positive emotional reaction we see from families when they first enter the funeral home. With the ability to not only display service announcements, but funeral homes can also display pre-need ads and trust building ads to increase their sales. These are all part of in our resource library that our clients have access to. We heard from one funeral home that had not had a call in 2 weeks, and someone walked in to view their facility and they were displaying a pre-need ad, and they didn't know this was an option, the people walking in, and so they had wrote a pre-need and they had gotten a call from that ad. So there's the direct correlation between the advertising on the screen. So it's just not for service announcements. These are all accessible in our library of resources. A funeral home recently told us, and I quote, how finding FuneralScreen at a convention was such a blessing that no amount of advertising has ever brought him so much positive feedback.
Excellent. That's great to hear. And if funeral home's interested in using you, what kind of support and training do you provide to funeral directors and their staff?
Well, when a funeral home becomes a client, we'll provide any installation advice and support that they need, as well as professional installation if they so choose it. Our onboarding process, we'll walk through them with them using our software to apply updates to the sign. So how this is done is we'll do a screen share session with them with as many employees as necessary until they know how to use the software. And then any follow-up support they need is always just a phone call away. We also offer managed services in the event a funeral home is not comfortable, or maybe they're just too busy or just don't have the personnel to be updating the directory signs themselves. So we can totally manage that for them if they wanted. In that scenario, we'll remotely manage the sign and they have nothing to learn. They just submit their signage update request through our website portal.
Excellent. Okay. And what are some of the key benefits that funeral homes can experience by being early adopters of integrating technology in their daily operations and services? And how does that give them a competitive edge?
Well, you have the opportunity to obviously to stand out from your competitors. For example, our digital whiteboard system, this product aids in keeping an entire staff organized on task. They could have a screen in their office, one in the prep room. And this will display all their services in one place. And all the content could be remotely updated. So if they have multiple locations, when they do an update at one place, all that content is pushed out. So, and that will give them a competitive edge because they can run their business more efficiently with less chance of error. And they have the opportunity to stand out from their competitors.
Okay. And what feedback have you received from funeral directors regarding the integration of FuneralScreen's products and services into their daily operations?
Well, one of our clients has told us that, and I quote, this is one major improvement a funeral home can add to bring immediate appreciation from the families they serve. I can't tell you how many families and mourners have gone out of their way to stop in our office and tell us going out of their way to stop in our office and tell us how much more personal our directory sign is and how they've never seen such a system before. No amount of advertising has ever brought so much positive feedback, end quote. And we see the same reaction over and over from all our new clients.
Okay. All right. So funeral director may still be hesitant about adopting this new technology into their practices. What advice do you have for them?
Well, I believe while the funeral industry is unique in a way that it deals with personal loss and grief, it is no different than any other industry in that there's always room to improve. As a family, anything special done to commemorate the loss of their loved one would not be forgotten. That's why adopting a system like FuneralScreen can be so beneficial to someone in the industry. Digital signage could be used as a digital directory. You could play memorial tribute video of the deceased on the screen, while also adding opportunities for advertising. A live stream service is also a great way to make connections globally rather than just interpersonal connection. As I mentioned before, our live stream service was used globally across 78 countries, with joining over 33,000 families together. That means that a family that cannot make it to a service that lives across the globe is able to experience the service live rather than having to miss out on the opportunity for closure.
Okay. And how can they overcome those reservations and embrace the opportunity that FuneralScreen and that technology offers to them?
Well, I mean, if a company has a solid reputation and it's been around for several years, you should feel good knowing that you'll have the support you need. Don't be afraid of the technology. If they've got good support and they've got phone support, uh, you know, embracing the technology is going to afford you the opportunity to elevate your business to a new level.
All right, we got one final question. I'm going to follow up on that. You hear a lot in funeral service from veteran funeral directors. That's the way we've always done things. So throughout history, the funeral industry has been known for its traditional practices. Can you discuss the historic resistance to change within the industry and how funeral directors have traditionally approached adopting new technologies and innovations?
Well, let's be honest, funeral directors tend to have a reputation for being stuck in their ways. This is the way it's always been done. My father did it this way. The good news is, as the younger generations come up through the ranks, come new thoughts and ideas. I definitely see more willingness to accept new technologies. I remember when we first started out years ago, our average sales cycle was 3 years. So in other words, it took clients about 3 years from the first time they maybe saw us at a trade show or inquired about our product before they actually purchased a product and became a client. Now that sales cycle is much, much shorter. We don't see it taking anywhere near that amount of time.
All right, Jeff, thank you very much. And just another reminder, you'll be doing a free webinar with us here at Kates-Boylston. That's on Thursday, July 27th at 3 p.m. And once again, that webinar is titled How to Personalize Your Funeral Services Using Digital Technology. So you can learn all about what Jeff was talking about today and how to implement that in your business. So Jeff, thank you so much. Any final words from you?
Thank you. Look forward to seeing everyone.
All right, July 27th. And to sign up for that, go to AmericanFuneralDirector.com and click on the webinars tab. Thanks again, Jeff. Talk to you on July 27th.
Thank you, Stan.
Okay, have a good day.
You too.